I'm your girl, Karyn Nelson, and I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening. With me, we are touching base and, finding out all the amazing things that one spectacular Tobagonian has been doing. And that spectacular person that I'm speaking about is none other than Karyn, and we know her here locally as Baby. So Karyn "Baby" Forbes, the captain of the National Soca Warriors, the female team. So Baby, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I am great, Karyn. Thanks for having me. I'm really delighted to come here today.
Well, it's always a pleasure when we see each other, right?
Of course, absolutely.
Right. So I wanted to touch base with you and kind of get to know you in a little deeper way, as well as find out about this journey in football. Now, guys, Karyn is not a new person to me. This is a friend that I have known since when? High school. We were both in Signal Hill Secondary School together, yes, in the same form. I promise you she didn't give trouble. Might have run away to play football.
True.
Right? But more or less, that was the life back then.
Of course.
Right? But I want to know, how did you get into football?
Actually, I started playing with some cousins of mine, Ronako Jack, Rencel Jack, Daniel Saras, who is also a national player now. I also had cousins like Jamon Kwashi, who was already into football, and they encouraged me, more or less.
Okay, so was it like a community thing, or was it something that you just saw and was like, let me try to do this?
So because my cousins were already playing football, I born into a football family, so it was nothing new for me. And actually, growing up with guys, you tend to be much more of a tomboy per se.
Yeah.
So I was always outside playing with the boys in the backyard, and they started to go to Stokelyville, which is still in existence right now.
Yeah.
So on Saturdays we used to go down and train with them, and that's how I got involved.
Okay, so was it like a genuine love for the sport that allowed you to stay? Because I know as kids sometimes it just be like, oh well, my cousin's doing this, so I doing it too.
So basically, yes, I would say a genuine love for the sport. I realized, playing with boys actually got me to be better. And, the more that I went on, my coach, James Campbell, would have continued to encourage me. And he would have purchased my first football boots, actually.
Oh, that was so nice. Yeah.
I know, right? Because I was playing with her old bus-up shoes.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But I was more or less grateful because, continuing to play with the boys, as I mentioned, would have allowed me to actually be a cut above the rest.
Yeah.
And women football wasn't that prominent at the time. So because of that, I played my first, I think it's Republic Bank under 12 tournament and got MVP.
Yeah.
Because that time, again, women football wasn't that prominent.
Yeah, but I remember and thinking back, it was kind of difficult to get persons on the teams and those type of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I played with Betters Government, and that was my first youth competition as a female. Now, women football has reached far and wide now, much more opportunities and so forth. But I am grateful that I was able to grow up with the boys, because who knows where I would have been if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, and I mean, you would definitely have to push a little bit harder than a girl playing against a girl just based on genetics and structure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for real. I mean, playing with the boys, it obviously allowed them to be a little bit more physical on you. And that helped me tremendously, because every time I step on the field with a female, they have to expect that physicality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess it has paid off, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So, fast forward, how was the journey through high school and heading into college? How did you move from just casually playing into actually getting down into some serious business with the sport?
So when I transferred to Signal Hill, right, because actually I passed for Goodwood High, and Miss Simmons actually got me into Signal Hill because, again, of my talent football. I was really grateful for that because I know I disappointed my mom a bit because, everybody wants to know that you're going to either Bishop's, Cambridge, or Compre. Come on.
So
utilizing my talent and getting that that transferred would have actually propelled me, because my first intercall I played against Malik FC from Trinidad, and apparently some of those girls were already playing with the national team.
Yeah. So
they would have told the coach at that time, Jamal Shabazz, that hey, we saw this girl in Tobago, she kicking the ball real hard. And he would have contacted myself and my sister and a few other Tobagonians that has played with the team at that time, and we went over for training, and my career took off from there at the age of 13.
The rest was history.
Yes.
Because I am thinking back that while we were in high school, what really was happening in a big way was track and field. Right. And then out of the blue, you gone from class.
Yeah.
And we here in baby going training more than we seen you in class. So
yeah. So at that time, I've been honest with you, Karyn, I wasn't studying books. I was just studying football.
I know. I saw for myself.
Yeah, I just was studying football because that's all I knew. And as I said, I transferred from Goodwood High because my grades wasn't very good. You know, a lot of people doesn't want to expose those things, but I think truth is what inspires people.
Yeah.
You know, and again, my talent got me there, and still at that point, I wasn't studying school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was it going down to Trinidad to actually train with the team? Was that a hard journey for you? I mean, there's a lot of traveling for a young person and all that. How was it like?
So honestly, it was like about 4 or 5 of us on the national team. And it used to be fun because, you know, we give a little trouble on the airport.
Of course.
But it's always difficult being away from family and having to go over every weekend is to be very tedious. But at the same time, you know, you're not there alone. So you have the other Tobagonians that you're actually with. And it was like real cool. It wasn't like a burden too much, but because you still get to enjoy it, you know. Outside of the fact of missing family, we stood on the airport a couple times. Stranded to get flights to come over. It had times that, you know, we just use we play with the national team, and you know, some of the people there would have allowed us to go on. So staff. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
So coming on from Compre, because I think the last time we really interfaced in a major way was in fifth form, and you were doing physical education as a class, right? And though that was a subject, the whole aesthetic was football still.
Of course.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
Right? So, but all of a sudden, we know that you were heading out into university and into the life of international sport. How did that transition occur?
So, again, I always thought about, hey, I need to play professional because, you know, at that time, you're hearing professional football giving you a lot of money, right? And I said, and I came from humble beginnings. So I was like, if I get to professional football, I'll be able to help my family and friends. So that's all that was on my mind, actually.
When you say humble beginnings, what do you mean by that?
So I never grew up in a family that has a lot of wealth. And I know, you know, creating a pathway and a legacy for my family, that was heavily rested on me, simply because of my talent. I wanted it to work for me to put my family name on the map, and by extension Trinidad and Tobago, because I hold my country very dearly to me. Every opportunity I get to represent my country, like, I don't care, I am going to do it. And even if, you know, it's like I live to die for my country, and that's one of the things that I'm very passionate about. And you know, anytime you say country, I'm there. And you know, transitioning from school and going out, guys, when I got my scholarship, I was just thinking, listen, Karyn, now you have to think about balancing books and
for the first time.
Athletics for the first time. And not to mention, actually, when I did my classes at first, CXE, I got 3 subjects, right? So I got mathematics, accounting, and physical education, right?
Well, at least you got that one thing right.
Absolutely. And, you know, from there, I was like, Karyn, you know, you're playing the fool yourself, because for anybody to get mathematics and accounting at the same time, you playing the fool.
You have some talent,
of course,
lying there.
Yeah. So then I said, you know what? Let me repeat and do the SATs, so that allows me the little time, you know, to still get some more subjects. So I did it again, and I got 4 subjects.
Nice.
You know, so I was able to conquer that, because I'm a person, I don't like to move forward unless I do what I set out to do. You know, so I got my scholarship and I moved abroad, and that's where I started to balance both school and athletics, and I would have made the dean list. Who'd have thought?
You made it? Who? That's news to me. What? I'm so proud of you. I am so... No, seriously. Baby, and that means you was real playing the fool. I had to go and report this to the company alumni. I hope they're watching.
Guys,
so it was a shocker to you that you could have actually excelled academically.
I know. This is where I started to balance both life and football, football and athletics, because you know, you would have mentors and people talking to you and telling you, like, listen, you could go out to play a football game and your feet could get broken, something could happen to you, and now you have to be able to look back, you know, and have something that could help you, you know. And this is where I started to say, hey, Karyn, you had to buckle down. And that's what I did.
All right, excellent. So I know that sometimes it's a little bit difficult, the changes of environment, the changes of temperature. How did that impact you? Were you able to maneuver easily? How was that for you?
It was really tough, you know, simply because when you're going into a different country, you're talking about culture shock. Everything is a little bit different, something similar, but most of it is different because obviously, you know, our population is more African, and then in America it's a bit different. Outside of that, you're talking about the food, you're talking about the climate, as you mentioned. It was a bit difficult at first, and then now you're going with certain stigmas in your head that, you know, racism, etc. So I had up this wall, you know, going into college until, you know, a wise person once told me, like, you have to get your own experience. You can't go off of what people tell you. And when I got out there, I mean, I experienced a little bit, but it wasn't as bad as, and I think things has changed regardless, you know, and I was really grateful for the opportunity.
All right, so since you went out and you became an academic scholar, as well as doing your thing in football with excellence, what were you able to achieve? Because I know that you were in school for quite some time. So what did you do?
So I would mention that my first season going out to school, because of the ripple effect of not being able to have good grades in high school, they told me I wasn't eligible for the first year. I almost got win. So I couldn't play football. All I had to do was focus on school.
All right. So all the footballers that are watching this podcast, you hear that? I just want you to hear that. That's all from me. Anyway, baby.
So I wasn't eligible, which it worked in my favor. I was able to complete my master's after. So I would have finished my degree within the space of 3 years.
Excellent.
And then I moved on to my master's degree, which again, you know, even though I wasn't able to play the first year, it still worked for me. So I was grateful for that.
Excellent. What did you study?
So I studied business administration, where I was able to branch off because outside of football, I love business. That's my thing, you know, and that's how I was able to incorporate Kick It with Karyn, sinking back into my business. So both of them basically work simultaneously together.
So I think you move ahead a little bit fast. What's Kick It with Karyn, for those who may not know?
All right, so Kick It with Karyn is a tournament that I started I was just on a flight coming back, and I was telling my best friend Ria Belgrave, I was like, Gil, you know, I just want something to do for the community. And you know, we were just brainstorming, and I say, you know what, I feel I'm gonna do a soccer picnic. So the name Kick It with Karyn only birthed after 5 years. You know, when consulting with a cousin of mine, his name is Shane Sandy, I was like, he usually consult with me when it comes to names for everything. And he was like, hey, why didn't you just do some Kick It with Karyn? I was like, that is it.
So,
that's
the name.
The first parts of Kick It with Karyn, the name was just Forbes Soccer Picnic. And then that catchy name just took it over.
Actually, that fits your vibe more.
I know.
You get you there. You get you. Right? But we jumping back to school and international football. So you left international football, not totally, but you came back home and you did a community event, and it's an annual event now, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. And in terms of international play, what was happening?
So when I got back to Trinidad and Tobago, I applied for some jobs. I was hoping that I do get you, being honest, because
that is what? That is so unique. You're hoping that you ain't getting work?
Yeah, I'm hoping.
All right. Explain that to me. Why was that the case? Because football on your mind then?
Yes, absolutely. I had to fulfill that dream. I had to go pro. So I was just like, I just hope this ain't work out for me.
Yeah.
So I was just, doing the right thing that your parents expect you to do. Like, apply for a job when you get out of school. You know, and I was just like, I want a contract. So I continued to market myself otherwise and connect with people. And you know what? The contract that came was for somebody that is 5'9", which is me, and is a midfielder.
Oh, isn't God good?
All the time.
Amen. That's amazing. And that fit your profile totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything fit the description. I went off to Iceland. Actually, that was a really good experience. Again, I am a very open person when it comes to learning new things, and I get to marry it to Trinidad and Tobago to see how much of luxury that we are actually living in. Yeah. Comparing to these other countries.
Okay, so tell me in detail, what does that mean?
So, we have, all right, for example, harvest. Yeah. You know anybody in any other country going and do a harvest and just give away free food? Nah, in this day and time?
I don't think you'll see that anytime soon.
Exactly. So, there's so much to be grateful for, in your country, that when you go out and you see different things and different struggles, it really broadens your knowledge.
Yeah.
And, getting out to Iceland, I mean, it was extremely beautiful. I was able to learn a lot. They have a population of 500,000. Their crime rate is 2 or 3 persons a year, right? A lot of people migrate out of Iceland and go into other parts of Europe because of not being able to get this thing. Because it's so cold, right? And they have 24 hours darkness.
Oh.
Right? So they have different things that people don't really want,
24 hours darkness?
Yes, yeah. In their summer period, it have 24 hours darkness.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, and I get to learn the language, get to count from 1 to 10. I get to meet new people. I get to network at a very high level. I could message my Icelandic coach right now. He will respond to me in 2 twos. I told him.
And that means that your relationships have been developed.
Absolutely. And because of doing my tournament, he would have given me some idea, and I got some sponsorship from there too.
So international sponsorship as well.
Absolutely.
So are you still with that team, or you've moved on to other teams?
So I moved on. I had moved on to Romania, right, last couple of years, and that was a really bad experience that I never really spoke about, you know.
Why would you say that?
Because, again, I was really grateful for learning the culture and so forth. The standard of living there is very low compared to us. And that is because of, I guess, how they situate their stuff. Yeah. But with Romania, it's more when I did my research after, they said that is one of the countries you do not go to play football, because it's more around mafia and match fixing. So I experienced match fixing at the highest level there, and it was just a real bad experience. Coming in, we had 3 months on our visa, not visa but passport when you go Europe in those countries. 3 months, and they're supposed to do the work permits. They did not do the work permits. Wanted us to stay there and pay under the table. It's crazy.
Wow. So international football and politics just goes together. Yeah.
Well, if you want to put it together.
You don't want to say it, but anyway. So after Romania, because you said it wasn't a great experience, but I'd like to see the progress, because it shows that it's not always like complete positive experiences all the time. Like
No.
it's up, it's down.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's why I ensure that I had something to fall back on. I was always into clothes, so when I was going to school, I used to bring back stuff in a little small suitcase and sell, so I could make a little extra money to go back to school. And then I was able, after my first contract, to take the money and invest it into my own clothing store. So even when I went off to Romania and other contracts that I had, I ensured that I took care of business as well, because, you know, again, you know, the women game is now growing, and now you're getting bigger salaries and so forth. I mean, not like the men's game, but we get in there, you know.
Well, I know generally for most women's sport that the salaries are a bit lower. What is happening now in the 21st century that has changed things so rapidly?
So I think the women game is growing tremendously. Globally, there's a lot more interest in terms of sponsorship, in terms of FIFA, in terms of CONCACAF, exposing women a lot more.
More advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I was talking, actually I was the assistant coach at Scarborough Sec. We lost to Signal Hill recently, and I wish the Signal Hill all the best. But, you know, one of the young ladies walked up to me and she said, which team are you going to play with in the upcoming Women's League? And I said, I'm not sure yet. So I said, but you don't need to do that. You need to see that there's so much more opportunities out there. I said, why are you selling yourself short to here? I said, go out there and experience things for yourself. That is what would have built me. I had to live on my own. I had to do stuff that actually you wouldn't learn from just staying like in your comfort zone. Yeah.
So essentially, for footballers and for football in general, as an athlete, you have to kind of push to get out of the local bubble.
Of course, because, you know, there's more opportunities out there. I will always tell, like, Asher James, you know, I always, like, she sends me stuff, you know, she consults with me, and I always tell her, like, no matter where you go, always remember where you come from.
So for those that don't know, who is Asher James? So
Asher James comes out of the village of Canaan, right? She went to Signal Hill as well. I think it's like 3 or 4 years after we had finished. And she is now organizing to head out. I don't want to bust a bubble, but you know, she's getting an opportunity and she would have consulted with me. And I said, listen to me, this is your time. Go for it. I said, this is the only way. You know, you will be able to say, just like me, I have done it. So therefore, now I could do something else, or I could make certain decisions that, you know, I'm not regretting it.
It's giving you some leverage when you accept international.
Of course. Especially if somebody is hungry, you know, to be able to showcase their talent is something that they're passionate about. She's 25. You know, now is the time to do so. When I leave to go on my first contract, I was now completed school at the age of 24. You know, I had a lot riding for me. I made all region, all American, that's the all-star team, midfielder of the year. You know, things was buzzing. And if this is your time and this is your prime, then what's stopping you?
Go for it. Yeah, that's amazing. So your experience internationally would have brought you some new insights, right? What did you use that you would have learned internationally and bring back home? What did you use in terms of skills and expertise that you can use here?
So to be honest, Caris, I'm very passionate about coaching as well. However, I was now employed with Trinidad and Tobago Sports Company, right, where I now reside in Trinidad for a bit. And honestly, it's one of the best moves I ever made. And I just got an opportunity to go back outside and I turned it down, you know, because I said, you know what, I am 33 now. And I have went pro. I have fulfilled that aspect of, you know, playing football. I have achieved a lot, and now I just want to finish my career with the national team. And you know, a lot of people, I am not very loud. You know, even if I'm doing something, unless I put it out, you would not know. But to answer your question, I have so much to give back to my country, and I'm still exposing myself to so much more in terms of whether it is coaching, whether it's administrative. Like I am just in for just giving myself up to, seeing somebody else propel out of their situation. I didn't have a good situation. I didn't allow it to be the determining factor of me. People stigmatize Plymouth as, this and that and so forth. And, I had to be one of those that came out and show people that it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter what's happening there, because things are happening everywhere. The onus is on you. Is what you want. Is you have to change the narrative for your own self. And I was grateful for this opportunity so I could be able to share. I was really shy, before. And now.
But look at you here, comfortable.
I know.
Right. But if we're being realistic, if you don't really self-pilot your dreams, they really don't go off the ground.
Correct.
Right? So personally, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
But guys, you all know that not just football and being on the sport company and all of those other things that Karyn would have mentioned, that's not the be-all and end-all. Somewhere in the middle, Karyn found time to do this. She found time to write her a book called Woman of Substance. She needed a hero, she needed a hero so that that's what she became. And that's what is on the front of the book, right? So, Karyn, the hero is you. I want you to tell me a little bit of Woman of Substance, because guys, I wonder if you all know that Karyn had this book. To me, this is like a best kept secret, right? This is my first time laying eyes on the book, and I intend to read it. So I want to know a little bit about it. Karyn, when you had time to do this, when you had time to publish this, I want to know. Tell me.
So on my first contract, which is in Iceland, what had happened, right? Like scenery captivates me. I love that, right? And sometimes when I pull my curtain, it's like really beautiful, and ideas just started to flow. So on my downtime, I took the time to write the book, and when I got home after the contract, that is when I would have published the book. I was like, COVID had hit. I was supposed to head back to that set team, but COVID had hit, so that would have changed the course of everything. And I was like, a lot of people got despondent and discouraged, and I was like, you know what, now is the time. So even with lack of funding for most people and so forth, I just had faith and I went through with it. And this is my last copy, Karys.
Oh, and look where it is. But I'm so proud of you. So tell me some of the highlights that are in the book that we could look forward to.
Okay, so I spoke about when I started. I thank, the people that I am a very strong person when it comes to gratitude. I thank my family that would have stuck with me every single journey of my life. Every single one of them, they would have assisted in some way, supported me in some way, and I can't ask for more. My best friend Ria, best friend Tamika Hutchinson. I know probably she's listening now, but those are some of the people that I held very dearly to my heart. Sometimes because you always need a shoulder. As strong as you are, you always need somebody that could vent, that could just say, hey, it's gonna be fine. So the book spoke about me growing up playing football, talking about Signal Hill, talking about national experiences, talking about God, how he helped me, because, sometimes people see you being successful, like, it's just handed to you. And it's not, people don't see the work that you put in behind closed doors. Like I work exponentially all the time because I know the situation that I came out to. I need to make my family proud. I need to make myself proud. I need to make something of myself. And that's my mantra, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's my blueprint. I move with that. God has helped me so much, Karys. He has put me in the esteemed position to move from one level to the next. And I'm talking from being really shy, I'm still a little shy. to who I am becoming.
Yeah.
So I just, I was just reading Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, and it's so much me because I saw where I was and where I'm at now and where I'm going. It's just only greatness I see.
And guess what? It's only going to get better. The thing about it, sometimes people assume that, you've done a lot and you've peaked.
Yeah.
There's literally no peak.
No.
The peak does not exist.
No. Absolutely not, because even look, after writing this book, I was telling somebody, have so much more books in me, and they was like, how much stories are you going to tell? It's not a matter of story, because my next book is ambition. Yeah. There's a lot of, and why I choose Woman of Substance, there's a lot of women feel as though, all right, I get a husband, I get kids, and it's just halt. Yeah. You can still pursue it, like, age doesn't define what you're going to achieve.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you can still pursue what you want to pursue. If you understand what I mean. You don't have to subject yourself to just that alone. That is great.
I think that people sometimes they allow age to tie you back, but you're going to age. You're going to get older anyway. So
correct.
Go back to school. Go and start the business. I mean, whether if you start now at the age of 40 and you end at the age of 45, if you didn't start, you will be 45 without it. I mean, just do it.
Yeah, and like, I'm not saying that family and stuff, I value that.
Of course.
I think that's great. But you, within yourself, if you have a desire for something, do it. Like, it doesn't matter when you start. You must feel fulfilled. I was listening to Miles Monroe. He's one of the persons I listen to. And
you're listening to good people. That's right up my alley, because it didn't have much better than that. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. And one of the things that he said that stood out to me, that the graveyard is one of the most wealthiest places.
Exactly, because people die with their dreams and ambitions. I heard that one too,
Correct. And like, those things play on my mind. Like, Karis, I don't have a child, doesn't mean that I don't want it. I don't have a husband. I'm meticulous where that is concerned. But those are things that I want, But at the same time, I know the pathway, the journey that God is taking me, eventually it's going to happen. It's not that people isn't vying, but at the end of the day, I am on business, and if you can't add to my journey, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Rolling.
And respect that.
Absolutely.
Right? So Karyn is on business, and she has a business. And I would like you to tell us about your t-shirt and sweater company, because guess what? We have our own local brand through Karyn. So tell me about it.
So the name of my brand is going to be an inclusive KF logo. And the bottom will be my phrase, which is create your legacy. The reason why I chose create your legacy, I was actually brainstorming a few with my best friend and my cousin Kimon Kwashi as well. And when I thought about it, I wanted something that everybody could relate to. And create your legacy is actually something that everybody could relate to. And, again, as I said, I'm pushing, people going after their dreams, and creating your legacy could fit everybody's description.
Yeah. So I guess with that type of branding, I'm very sure Tobagonians would be able to support that brand.
Absolutely. I did some samples and just placed them in the store. Didn't even put it out on social media. And people just gravitated to it already.
Right, so you're telling us about this store, but you're not telling me where the store is. You're not telling me where the store is. I would like to know where the store is, please. Thank you.
So So the store is located in Plymouth, actually home by me. So it's not like where I'm paying rent and so forth. Because social media, everything is going digital. So you don't necessarily need that. I mean, I'm not saying that you cannot, but I just chose that path. And so it is in Plymouth Jager Street. And if you need to contact me to see whatever I have, because I'm not only selling sporting goods, because a lot of people thought that. Right? I am selling casual clothes. I more do men. Because it's a bit easier, but gradually I'm now bringing in women as well. So if you need to contact me, it's 352-7552.
Excellent. So I want to jump over into your role as the captain of the national team. So you have said to me right here on my set that you are pursuing legacy. And you are now poised in a position where you can mold younger ones and train younger ones and guide them. How do you feel about that role, and what are you doing with it?
Karis, honestly, it's a big role. It's such a big role. Like, people just see the fame of, he's the captain, but they don't understand the fight that you have to, that takes place behind closed doors, and whether that comes from fight from people that fighting you down, that is in the position, and fight with the federation just to try to, get things for the girls. And that's just me being honest, it has been getting better, which is a really good thing. I'm hoping that it continues. I'm very passionate about women's football, and, hopefully one day that, the Lord see it fit to put me in a position that I could continue to assist where necessary. But in terms of the captain armband and being in that position, guys, is a big serious. It's like it's a lot. It's a lot. But I am grateful for the opportunity, because it would have put me in the esteemed position to challenge me. And I believe God wanted that, because I have one of my favorite quotes is that if it is, I didn't make you uncomfortable, you would have never moved. So that would have forced me to bring out my leadership skills in so many ways, even assist with situations that may have arisen. Not me alone. They had other members or leaders on the team, such as Victoria Swift, Liana Hines at the time. And but definitely I would say it is not an easy position. Yes, it puts you in the forefront. By the way, I don't really like the forefront, and the Lord knows that. But
yet, here we are.
But if the forefront would allow me the opportunity to inspire people to be able to talk or speak life into people, then absolutely, I'm fine with it. I tell my best friend this all the time. She probably does get fed up at me just talking certain things. You know what she does? Be like, okay, because she knows, she could feel the passion that I have, that I share. Now I am transitioning out. We have a new coach. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Maybe he wants to groom someone else. For me, football is in a different place. I do enjoy doing it still. I'm here. I will play out my career until my foot cannot go no more. I want to be around the team. I want to inspire the team as much as I can, and just do my part, and until that time reach to be in other position that I could also do my part there too.
Okay, that's so amazing. So in closing, I just want you to leave some words of wisdom with those that are viewing, and for those that really are inspired towards greatness in the field of football. What would you want them to know?
For me, something, by the way, my mother is my why. So you have to get something to hold on to, because the going is going to get tough. I would have did surgeries on my both knees. I thought I would have never been able to come back, but here I am. So my mother was my why, and the many days that it got tough, right, I would have held on to that fact that I have to be able to do something to assist my mother in whatever way that I can. So you have to get why. But one of my favorite quotes is, the sky's the limit is overplayed. There's no limit. And once somebody could be able to put that into perspective, trust me, there's no stopping you.
Awesome. So guys, you saw how much wisdom Karyn come and leave with us. I really hope that this episode would impact all of you who are in sport or even are interested to pursue your own legacy or pursue your own ambitions. I really appreciate all that you would have said.
Thank you.
And you're always welcome back on the podcast. So guys, from me to you, I usually leave you all with my statement: stay tenaciously resolute in all that you do. You all know that you could always come to the podcast to see something uplifting and positive. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. So from me to you, have a blessed week ahead, and bye-bye.